elements are a lot like toothpicks and marshmallows. Vegan marshmallows. But here's the thing. Hydrogen atoms are like much smaller marshmallows because a hydrogen atom only has one proton and one electron. Although hydrogen does constitute 75% of all matter, so in this case, size does not matter. But guess what? Two hydrogen atoms can come together and form a... In this single bond, each one of these hydrogen atoms is sharing the two electrons that are within this toothpick. This is just one pair of electrons, but this is two pairs of electrons being shared in between these two atoms, which is called a double. A double bond is made by two atoms sharing two pairs of electrons. I think that pair is a little old. Perhaps we should talk about a different pair, like this pair of nitrogen atoms. These nitrogen atoms share not one, but three pairs of electrons, which is what one might call a The two nitrogen atoms that share these three pairs of electrons form a chemical bond that is like no other. Now that we're on the topic of triple bonds, I thought I'd mention how delicious, but most importantly, how difficult it is to break them apart. This is due to the bond strength between the two hydrogen atoms. The strength of their bond makes it require more energy to break them apart, which is why triple bonds have more strength than single bonds. Because a triple bond has three pairs of electrons, and it would take much more energy to break apart three pairs of electrons as opposed to one pair of electrons. Anyways, back to you, Ice Spice. Awesome sauce. Now, you can't mention strength without bringing up length. Bond length. Covalent. To measure the bond length, you got to look at the nucleus at the center of this atom. The bond length is the distance between these two nuclei. Anyways, consider the following. This is a simple centered cubic, a cube-shaped unit cell with only one average-sized vegan marshmallow, aka a lattice point, at each of its corners. The center of the cube-shaped unit cell is simple and empty, just like my relationship status. And that is a body-centered cubic, still pretty simple with just one lattice point at its very center, including the four other lattice points at each corner of the cube unit cell. Although this is a face-centered cubic, essentially a dice with one lattice point on every single one of its sides, or faces. If you look inside, there's no lattice point at the center. Remember that. Now stay with me, alright? Think about the North Pole and the South Pole. The North Pole and the South Pole are two opposite sides of the world, which could be called polarity. So, polarity is essentially the state in which two things are complete opposites to each other. And in this case, polarity is the separation of charges. It is determined by having different or same charges on the ends of the ions. And it can only occur when two or more atoms are bonded together. Now, a non-polar covalent bond will have atoms that equally share electrons, which makes any bond between atoms of two different elements a polar bond. So does that make sense, everyone?
Mr. Vargas, can you explain it in like Fortnite terms?
I'm Hannah Takahashi, and I worked on this project.
I'm Ella Finken, and I worked on this project.
I'm Jacob Vargas, and I worked on this project.
Thank you, and we hope you enjoyed.